European Union ministerial coming. It's the third of a kind. Then we were discussing what could be the deliverables. Of course, also in Africa, we see some very worrying developments. Of course, like the worst humanitarian crisis in Sudan. So we also discussed what more can we do? We condemn the attacks of the Zamzam refugee camp by rapid support forces. And these assaults on the most vulnerable are utterly unacceptable and must stop. We also have tomorrow in London a Sudan Aid Conference where Commissioner Labib will represent the European Union, and it's organized together with France, UK and Germany. And then last point, we discussed yesterday, but also today. Yesterday we also had the Western Balkan ministers with us, and today we had very good discussions on Western Balkans. It is clear that the stability and security of the region is essential. And, if you look at the map, Western Balkans are in Europe geographically. They should also be in the European Union, and that's why the enlargement process is super important, and we need to move forward with that. We see Albania and Montenegro going really doing good steps and good reforms, so hopefully we'll have some success stories from there. Then in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it is in constitutional crisis, and it is clear that any attempt to break Bosnia and Herzegovina is unacceptable. The political leaders must bridge divisions, not to widen them. And when I was there, I was also seeing that enlargement is something that they all agree on. So they should move with the decisions on this regard, because the criticism of the international intervention could be, the international intervention could be phased out if everybody sees that they are able to make their decisions on their own. And then finally on Serbia and Kosovo, it is clear that the normalization of their relations is of utmost importance, and that's why the Belgrade-Pristina dialogue must continue. We have appointed a new special representative for Belgrade-Pristina dialogue, and I will also visit the countries later in May. But what was also discussed and very clearly said by different member states is that any participation in the 9th of May parades or celebrations in Moscow will be not taken lightly on the European side, considering that Russia is really waging a full-scale war in Europe. So I will stop here and I'm ready to take your questions.
Thank you so much. We start with Vitaly. Do present yourself and the media you're working for. Yeah.
Vitaly Sizov, your TV, Ukraine. Are you tracking which countries or candidates countries intend to visit Moscow on 9th of May? And of course, it will be a huge celebration in Moscow for Putin. Do you plan some visit to Kyiv on the same day or the date near to 9th of May? Thank you.
Thank you. We made it very clear that we don't want any candidate country to participate in these events on the 9th of May in Moscow. So that was very clear. The message was there. When it comes to visits to Kiev, then of course, as I've called also all the member states, but also representatives of the institutions to visit Kiev and Ukraine as much as possible to show really our solidarity and that we are with Ukraine. So, of course, we are always looking for options to visit and go also together with deliverables to Ukraine. Thank you.
Suneva Rose from The National. I have a question on Iran, which you mentioned in your introduction. The HRVP traditionally has a lead mediation role on talks on its nuclear program. So I was wondering if you could tell us about coordination efforts with the E3 so that you could maybe be included in the ongoing talks, considering they're going to continue in Rome on Saturday. Might we see a stronger EU involvement there? And overall, how confident are you that these US-led talks can help contain the nuclear program without new strikes? Thank you.
Thank you. Last Foreign Affairs Council, we had the deep discussion on Iran and how member states really want to proceed with Iran. And therefore, one of the outcomes is actually the sanctions also we put today on Iran regarding the state-sponsored hostage-taking of European citizens as well. When it comes to the nuclear talks, then, of course, we are constantly talking with the three countries what the position could be, because the deadline of the snapback is really approaching us. But there we also need to discuss this with the United States, and we did so also at the G7 meeting, because it's important to have a really unified approach to this, because nobody wants to see Iran developing a nuclear weapon. So we are concentrating our efforts on that. Thank you.
This is Andrea Pallasciano from Bloomberg. Hi, Rep, you mentioned this morning 2/3 of progress towards your ammunition initiative. Could you give us a sense of whether any meaningful progress has been achieved today, and by when you expect to hit the 100%? And also, if you could give us a sense of when these ammunitions would be delivered, because now we're talking pledges. Is there a sense of when they could actually arrive in Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you. As soon as possible is the short answer, because they need it now. I mean, because these attacks are going through, there are civilian casualties in great numbers. Really, that's why they need the ammunition. That's why they also need the air defense. The calls by Ukraine to have more air defense have been really, really vocal as well. So that's why the short answer is as soon as possible. It is, I mean, of course, commitments, but commitments need to also be followed. So some member states have proposed already ammunition, and some the funding for ammunition. But actually, also the Czech initiative has mapped ammunition that is available, and also the External Action Service has done so. So we can move quite fast. Thank you.
Hi, Matteo Bagnoli, ANSA. Thank you for doing this, IREP. Two questions. One is on Ukraine. This morning, some of the ministers, when they came in at the doorsteps, they underlined the fact that the attack in Sumy was not only horrific, but it was intentional. Then we have different words from the US, where President Trump said that they made a mistake. So I was wondering which is the true and correct assessment of that. Secondly, on the Balkans, again, this morning, one member state said that there were warning signs, possible conflicts in the area. You yourself said that there are tensions rising. So do we need to worry?
On Western Balkans, I think we should always worry about the tensions rising, and that's why we need to keep the tensions down. I think the best way to really proceed is to have them all in the European Union. Then there are less tensions, because European Union is a peace project and works in calming the tensions between those countries. But I think also the meetings we have had are very good in this regard, giving very clear messages also from our side and all the member states being very united. So if you think that their support in their countries is generally very high for the European Union, so this is what the people want to have hope for. So we can also stress on that. Now on the first question, I think it is in everybody's interest that Russia realized it made a mistake, but it made a mistake by attacking Ukraine. That it can't win in Ukraine because the will of the Ukrainian people is not broken, and European countries will, and not only European countries but many other countries will stand by Ukraine. So, and I hope that it's also clear to everybody now that if you want the killing to stop, you should put the pressure on Russia, who actually does the killing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Thomas Kutschka, Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. A number of countries have been calling for a while to stop LNG imports from Russia. Last year, I think Russia gained around 7 or 8 billion euros with these shipments. Now the EU is offering to the US to replace some of that imports by US imports or imports from the US. Is there a new case now for sanctions on Russian LNG in the 17th package?
Thank you. Like I said, we are working on the 17th package. So, of course, putting the sanctions on oil and gas and putting more on that side would have a bigger effect, because this is how they are funding also their war. So the discussions are ongoing, but you know very well that we need 27 countries to agree. But my point is that we should put as strong package together as possible, hopefully also with our international partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This concludes our person. For any other questions on the record. Have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.